what's up? We got another episode of Yankee and the Canuck. For those of you who are keeping track, we are on total episodes of 83. But we do episodes about all kinds of things. So this one episode specifically is Yankee and the Canuck. And the title, let's just be honest, is The Left Squares Up on Christianity. And
For first time viewers, that's the Yankee, that's the Canuck. All right. If you want to refer to me, I'm either Hey You or the Curmudgeon. Either
curmudgeon.
one. I'll answer
Curmudgeon.
either.
And listen, I dare any of you to grok what a curmudgeon is, because you might be more curmudgeon than you think you are.
No, he
'Cause
is. No.
curmudgeon is a great term of where people think.
I was thinking the old crotchety guy, but no, curmudgeon's much more defined as a term. No, I'm with you on that. And
H.L. Mencken is my mentor.
I don't even know who that is. That's over my head. What many things are.
Oh, it's the guy that invented Hot Pockets. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, before we jump off here, I got to say, one of you guys have to clear the air for these people thinking that unless this continuing resolution doesn't pass, to finance the government in the next 2 months.
Okay, that's an entire show, and I don't want to waste it on that. And to be honest, I had a good conversation with JC last night. Is that we need to do these shows? We just need to hit the shows, and then like when we do the Doom Scroll shows, we talk about all of that.
Yeah.
Whether it's Wednesday or Friday or whatever, but this isn't a Doom Scroll. And you
Correct.
and I have laid out clearly what we want to do. And yes, JC, I will let you talk.
We want to do it, but for those of you that want to know how to interpret the morning news, these are the Doge cuts. They've finally arrived, and watch the reaction. Okay, enough.
I just want to say, no one's going to starve to death like they're, making this up to believe. It's no big deal. It's just
hell no.
I'm
a lot closer to starving than they are.
Yes. Wait, I'm gonna put the ball on the tee, and I'm hoping like Bryson, who can hit a 357-yard drive. Edward, right? What we're seeing, I'm gonna set this up. What we're seeing is that there is an attack. I'll just use attack on what's called Christianity or Christians. And this is Christians have always been persecuted. This is not necessarily new, but it's more, and it's aggressive, and it's in our media on the all of the West, not just America. So Canada, Europe, Latin America, South America,
Western media.
Right, and so we're getting to a point where they're saying it's our fault. They're saying speech is violence. Let me start with you there, sir.
Speech is violence? Are you kidding me? Yeah, and who's defining the word in the term violence and in what sense? So you got the liberals saying just because they don't agree with you type of thing, that all of a sudden it's violent hate speech. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And we've heard enough of that already anyways. And I think it should go back to just the way we had it. Freedom of speech is just that. And yes, there's going to be penalties depending on what you've said. If you're yelling fire in a theater, the old story, we've been through that 1,000 times. But I
gotta stop you with fire in a theater. There is still nothing wrong in America with with actually saying that. It's not illegal. It's not unconstitutional. Are you just a rude ass prick? Yes, you're a rude ass prick. And should you get fired from your job for the next year?
Yeah,
of course. But you so that's something that the left all over the world, the Western world, uses. Edward, is that you can't say certain things, and I'll say yes, you can. People wish unaliving upon Elon all the time. They wish that upon Trump all the time. Is it now? It's his speech I hate. Yes. But is it legal, lawful speech in America? Yes, it is. But you're also playing your hands. Why would I want to employ you?
Correct.
Why would I want to be around you?
Yeah, you really have to take
Maybe I should move out of this neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I should move out of this city.
Or get a
Maybe
different
I should
job.
move out of California.
Yeah.
Or get a
Well,
different
some of
job.
it. I agree.
Yeah.
Somewhere doesn't matter. But yeah, as long as you take responsibility for what you're saying, yeah, say what you want, but there's repercussions for everything that we say, whether it's, well, even in court, which has become a joke today in this country, but let's not go on there. Yeah, you know what? The war against Christianity is alive, it's real, and Judaism as well. The Jews are under attack. And remember, I got to say this because so many people get this wrong. They're blaming the Jews for this, they're blaming them for everything. But remember, there's many people that are saying they're Jews that aren't Jews. Even the Bible tells you that in Revelations chapter 3, it says, and those who say they're Jews from the synagogue of Satan, he says to begin with, say they're Jews and are not, they are liars. Because it's happened back then. It's still happening today. It's no different. Well, you can say that there's lots of people claiming to be Christians that aren't Christians either and acting out in a certain way just so you believe and trust in them. But hardly they're the sheep in wolves' clothing. We already know that, or the other way around, I should say. But yeah, the war is real and the confusion on what the Jews are doing. And they don't understand today that there's 6 different major sects of Judaism, from the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Hasidics, there's on and on and on. They don't all believe the same things. And people don't understand that. This Jew said that. Yeah, well, which part, which one, which sect, they have no understanding of that. So they're blaming all this stuff on Jews and the pretend Jews. They don't even know what's going on. And then get this. I was on one space I don't know, was it Wednesday or Friday last week? And the co-hosts were offended by, being called the, Christian Judeo or Judeo-Christian person in that phrase, and they're offended by it. I don't want to be called that. Well, I don't know why, because we came out of the Jewish faith. That's where we came from. We were grafted into it, as the Bible would say. So why would you be offended, be part of where we came from? As a matter of fact, the word Christian is not even a New Testament term. It would be an old fulfillment of the old law, Old Testament. That's because the Jews didn't recognize it when he came. It doesn't mean it's any less true. It's still the fulfillment, and every book of the Bible even point to, describe him, or even announce his coming. They just didn't do enough reading or studying. They just followed, much like we do today, just follow the law, put no heart into it, just do what we have to do, and that's as far as it's going. And every Christian's doing that today, never mind the Jews. But so, yeah, it's the same old, same old. So, yeah, to say that Jews are how would you say, jerk water, not essential, not necessary, is wrong again. Because they've been here for so long and they're going to be here and remain here till the end of time. Which brings me to the point, boys. Why do we think we have to facilitate and look after Israel when we already know they're going to be till the end of the world? So we already know they're self-sufficient and that they're going to make it. Whether the U.S. and we step in or not, they're still going to exist. We can't stop that. And it's going to happen regardless of our position on funding, not funding, arming them, not arming them. It's still going to work out the same because it's already been predestined. If we read the rest of the book, the rest of Revelation, we already know that. So comments on that, Sean or JC?
Well,
JC,
I would say this. Obviously, it wouldn't have helped if was it Ahmadinejad would have dropped a nuclear bomb in the middle of Israel. That wouldn't have helped the Israel problem. Okay, but or whatever they consider it. What I would say is this. I've watched this with fascination for the last 3 years. It was very clear that we were entering a fourth turning. And you can study that or you can read about it, whatever you want. It just means that the world is reordering itself and things are not going to be the same. And as much as the administrative state declared war on the people with COVID and decided to do a pincer movement where they restricted all liberty, and obviously that didn't work because they ended up with Trump bigger and bolder and brassier than ever. They brought on their worst nightmare. The specter of the Orange Man loomed over DC, and they manifested it, and they brought him into reality with their intransigence. And even now, we're looking at the same thing with this crazy. I know we're not going to talk about the spending bill, but he's dug in now. This is the shutdown to end all shutdowns. The Doge cuts happen because he's on firm ground. And I haven't heard a peep from Lindsey Graham or any of the squishes. I mean, Edward, think about that from 10 years ago. Just incredible progress. But here's the point after that winding lead in. Israel has established that they're going to exist and they're going to be a major player in whatever comes out of this. And their warfare was so breathtaking with those pagers, with bombing people's apartments and leaving the lights on in the next room. That's some of the most incredible stuff I've ever seen in my life. It was breathtaking. It had the precision of the B-2 bombs. And the fact is, when a military and an intel service has American weaponry and the will to win, look what they can do. Look what they can do. And oh yeah, Netanyahu apologized to Qatar. Right. The fact is he sent those same things into those hotel rooms to take those guys out. And they all know it. And they don't want it to happen again. And his apology was overplayed by the media. It was very muted. But the fact is Israel's here to stay. And I'm not a big lover of Bibi, but at the same time I understand his purpose. There are warrior kings, and that's what he represents. And he won't be around long after this is all settled, but he's had a good run.
Can we put a hat and a mustache on that Lindsay guy?
Oh God, yeah, the memes are incredible.
I know, right?
They're incredible. And we could drift off that way if we want to, because we got
I don't want to.
easy. It's easy content. But from the point I was talking about with you a few days ago when we put this show together was we need to really explain, like, so they're saying it's an attack on the Christian left. Or sorry, it's an attack on the Christian West. And wait, but
Sean, if I may add, it's the left attacking the Christian West.
Yeah.
Oh no, it totally is. But like Edward and I had talked when we were doing show prep, and like we were looking at, well, but they don't even understand what a Christian is.
No.
So we were talking about how like what a Mormon is, right? Latter-day Saints. A lot of people don't even associate Latter-day Saints with Mormonism, and they are one and the same. Or you could do right. I just start picking one. Catholics. You can start picking things. Edward, help me out. There's like a lot of them. Wait, what's the church I'm thinking of that only 100,000? Think about that, 100,000 people get in, and they also walk the streets too.
That's the black.
No. It's I'll think of it. But anyways, my point is, again, now you're looking at deriverations or diversions that aren't actually Christian. Right. And then we get into, but because people assume that our non-believers, they believe in the church of government, that anybody who shows up at a building with a cross, this is what we talked about, is now deemed a Christian, and they're worthy of being unalived because they believe in Trump, which has nothing to do with anything. The silliness of the whole thing.
Donald Trump has nothing to do with Christ. Donald Trump does have something to do with personal liberty. And personal liberty flows from the Judeo-Christian West.
Correct.
The axis that most people talk about is, well, when they talk about it, is Greek rationalism, Roman order. Okay, but you can't get to where we have been without Christian sacrifice.
Correct.
There
Of course.
has to be something bigger to strive for rather than just a death cult of atheistic morons, which is what we're fighting.
Oh yeah, and you know what? You got to throw in there. I didn't want to get into the Catholic thing, but setting up government. If you read the Old Testament, in Deuteronomy or the Law again, and how Moses was going to set up government according to the Ten Commandments and the other, what would you call those? I guess I don't even know the subsections of these laws, but that was what the country is today, and where we get ours from is from and I don't want to get into the Roman law thing that you just mentioned because that just ticks me off to no end. I'm not
Roman order. Okay,
Right.
Romans knew how to order a Western society. Right.
Yeah, because
the Greeks supplied the intellectual firepower, but the Romans supplied the order and the system of government with separation of powers.
Well, for the eastern part, but I gotta say,
for a while, right, until you started to get dictators, right?
Yeah, so you can say the West for Rome, but the Eastern Orthodox, the Eastern part of things, the Greek part of things, not the Latin, but the Greek, which I side more with the Greek, German, English way of living and life and interpretation because of our language. And I am not going to fall to the Latin side because that's, again, Catholicism more than likely. But I'm going to say that when you get into, on this rock, I'll build my church. The Catholics think, oh, well, it's on Peter. No, it had nothing to do with Peter himself. It's the rock he was pointing to, not Peter, but on
that's exactly. You're just going to have to give me a second. That's
you're
exactly
right there.
where I wanted to go because
right there.
On this rock I build the church. The Catholics say, hold on, I built a saint in Peter. And I say, you're not looking at language in the way that I'm looking at language. On this foundation, I build the church.
Christ was the chief cornerstone. That's where it's at.
Yeah, and you know what? When the Catholics say, "Well, actually, Peter was the first pope," I'm thinking, "Oh my God!" Well, what do you call the rest of the followers of Christ before he even died? He had lots of followers. Remember all the thousands and thousands of people he fed.
Edward, I call them Jews. I call them Jews. I call them Jews.
I got to time out all of you. Churches or synagogues or whatever you call them existed for thousands of years before these passages from John, Mark, Luke.
Correct.
You name it. There's always been a worship, even if it was Christian, and then that's where we get into Judaism. I hate the word, but Jewish, right? Yeah. The first book. I mean, there's two parts of the book. The first part of the book of the Bible, there was already churches, but to your point, Edward, this is where it gets spent. It gets weird. It gets twisted. Is they're like, no, that the Catholic Church goes, well, they made him a saint. And that's where this saint started the Catholic Church. So it's like he didn't start because you can't start something. God created it. And God created the church, which it already was. And then as we move into the New Testament with the Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, blah, blah, blah. Now we have a different look at it. In both could be equally important. We could get into the theology of why the Jews and the Christians should be best friends. We're not going there here. What we're looking at right now, I'm trying to put the ball on the tee so that Edward can knock it out of the park. Is when you're saying I'm attacking the Christian West, you're attacking your friends. You're not because they're not Christians.
You know, that's I can answer that 1,000 different ways, but I got to go back momentarily before JC jumps in here because I know he's feeling it. He
I'm going to
wants
be quiet.
but you
Curmudgeon,
can.
the cat's got the curmudgeon's tongue. Go ahead, Edward.
We set you up. Take it home.
I gotta go, back to the on this government, on this foundation that we've already got. You know, we're going to carry on with this, but I have to say that when Jesus was talking about that, he was the one that Peter was following. Christ wasn't following Peter. They got it all backwards, and I find it absolutely kind of interesting that Paul was the Pharisee of Pharisees. He was the lawgiver. He was one following the law, not anything to do with spirituality, nothing to do with heart, nothing to do with love, but just law. And then he went to that transformation of going the other route. Now he's become the spiritual guy based in love and relaxed on the law. And now the Catholics are going all up on law again, or the sacraments. We have to do this, and there's no love, there's no spirituality behind it. It's all law again. So they went the other way around using Peter, the guy that wasn't the Pharisee or the law, following the law but to the letter of the T. They went. It's funny how they traded places, theologically speaking. Now, and no one sees that. I mean, they don't see the obvious. It hits them right in the face. Well, but Peter wasn't even the law. That was Paul. But they got, anyways. The whole thing the Catholics believe is so full of holes, so ridiculous. I wish somebody would actually read a Bible so that they can find out for themselves that what you're believing is not true. But who wants to take the time to do that?
They were forbidden doing that for a century.
What's that?
What? Just for entertainment value, there was a joke I made last night. We're not going to talk about last night because last night never existed. Is that we talked about Peter, Paul, and Mary in Puff the Magic Dragon. And I say that like funny, haha. I said it again last night. I think, there's a lot of people. Millions and millions of people who look at Catholicism and go, "This is the way," and they go, "Well, all right, that's fine. You at least sort of maybe are conservative leaning, but I think you're missing the point." If you could just hang out with me or Edward or JC, we could have a conversation with you about Jesus Christ and just let you know that it's through him and not through the church. It's through him, and it's not through confession to a man. It's through him and not to an apostle. It's through him and him alone. You would go, I don't need it. Like the other thing I will say real quickly is that if you feel the need to have that type of pomp and circumstance with the incense and all the things, I'm not against you.
Right.
I'm saying what you should be looking to is that your only need is to the Christ child, Jesus Christ, not anything else. And what Edward and I specifically believe is that all of these other denominations that call themselves Christians is that they put some other person, a man, or even a woman. You've seen it on TikTok. You've seen it on other places, in front of God instead of being just a spokesperson for God.
Right, and then she puts on a rainbow robe.
Oh God! Yeah, did you have to bring that up? You just wrecked my whole night. But yeah, that's true. That's what happens. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Well, go back to your bullet points. I'm not trying to distract you from this.
No. That's okay. That's all well and good. But we have to get talking about that. Now we have to get into putting because you can go into these great cathedrals, and everybody thinks that being at church is being in these four walls of these great sculpted cathedrals. And you walk inside, and you think, don't you feel godlike? Don't you feel godly now? Look at, don't you feel so overwhelmed with? But that's not the point of being in church. That's not, you know what? Yeah, but we're not the God people. That we worship one, but we're not God. And you may feel kind of, holy or whatever, but that's not the whole point. You can have church on a hillside, at a park, anywhere, Sean, wherever two or more are gathered, that's church. We can have church now, the three of us talking. Well, actually, I guess in some sense we really are.
We are. We are.
But still, we didn't open up with a prayer or anything. So, but, we could do that. But my whole point is, you can have a gathering because the Holy Spirit in the people is the church. That's what, we mean by church is the people that are gifted with that, that makes the church, not the four walls. Some people make a big mistake on that, thinking hey, we should fellowship. I mean, it's fantastic. Get out to church, and do just that. Listen and learn stuff or even teach or whatever, get involved. There's no doubt about that. We should never give up on doing that. But still, you can have fellowship. Like I said, we're doing that now. So you were going to say,
I have
Jason?
I have two spirit animals. One is Saint Paul on the road to Damascus. Remember, this man was a killer of Christians.
Oh, yeah.
We're not just talking about a Pharisee. We're talking about someone who executed the faithful.
Yeah.
He slit their throats the same way that some gangbanger slits the throats of a young lady on a subway. That was Saint Paul. Okay. And he's all right. I'm sorry. All right. He's going to Damascus. He's going to Damascus.
Why was he going to Damascus? We need to understand that.
Edward?
Why was he going to Damascus?
He was actually was Paul on the foot of Damascus. He was seeking out the Christians, looking for Christians. That was his whole duty. Like the
raison d'etre. Yeah, that's why he existed, was to kill them. That's what he did.
But not initially. It just ended up that way when Christ got here. But before that, he was just your normal Pharisee, learning and being taught, all the laws and following that. That was his duty to begin with. The law holder, okay, go ahead.
But that's the overwhelming point right now. Where are we ending up? We're ending up in a death cult if we don't stand up for it, because as Reagan said again, government can't control economies without controlling people. And the way you control people is with force. And the ultimate force is execution. Just ask Charlie Kirk. That's the road the current left is on. The same road to Damascus that St. Paul was on.
Yeah.
When he was confronted by Christ himself, and the scales fell from his eyes.
Yep.
And he saw the beauty of creation, and he saw the beauty of forgiveness. He then saw the fulfillment of the Old Testament, where in a world of human and virginal sacrifice, like what we've just had at the southern border with all the sex trafficking, the Hebrew Bible was written, and there was a passage in there, love your neighbor, when every other culture on earth was involved in paganistic sacrifice of each other.
I know.
That's what human beings do without God.
It's sad but true.
It's on display.
Not only that, Christians today are the most sought after and executed people on the face of the earth. That has been going on for quite some time. We all learned in school, I don't know about you Americans, but we always learned in Canada here that the holy wars and Christian wars and whatnot killed the most people, which is an outright lie. Communist governments have always killed the most people, not, the religious wars.
Because they have to control them. It's a totalitarian system, and it ends in death. Yeah. It ends up in Guyana. It always ends that way.
But they don't tell you that. That's not where a school system.
Of course not, because this time it's going to be different. This time we're going to have the right people This time we've got Mamdani.
Yeah, every time they say
All
they say
right.
the same thing after every failure. Well, if we just did this, no, you're missing the whole point, people. It's not about doing anything different. It's the end result. It's what I always say. What is the end game of what you're doing or trying to create? There has to be an end game to the whole thing, and they can't answer for that. And that's the whole thing of
They'll never
communism.
tell you.
There is no answer for that. It's death.
They'll never
Yeah, correct.
tell you.
It's the end. Yeah, and
They'll
that's
never
the
tell you.
sad part. Yeah, hey, it also goes back to that one religion where you get reincarnated 9 times and then you die. What was the whole point of being
I'm pretty sure
reincarnated?
that's Buddhism, but to
Hinduism.
where
I hope
But
I'm
to
all
not
to all the
I hope I'm not
cows out there that
reincarnated.
are listening to us that have been reincarnated, we welcome you. Please subscribe and hit the button, hit the like, hit the share to all the cows. I mean,
We want to
come
hear
on.
about it, especially if you've been an animal in a previous life. We want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
know about it.
we
Absolutely.
want to hear if he was. Yeah, that's funny. But you know
Seriously,
what?
hit the subscribe button
But
and
that's
drop
the
a
end
comment.
game I'm talking about. There's nothing to it but complete death. And that's the same with Hinduism. You go around this wheel like 9 times, and then you finally die after being reincarnated for 9 times, and then finally you get to die. That's
All
just
right,
the most thing.
so hold on. So we got to get back to what's a real Christian, and we're not going to get there. We're just not going to get there
Oh,
probably
time.
tonight.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
hold on. We got enough time to do it, but we got to go into an area where we're looking at uh, everybody who is non-Christian, right? In vocally non-Christian. It doesn't matter
Increasingly
what
so.
religion they are. They could be the religion of communism. They're attacking what they think is Christian, like institutions, churches,
Well, they
things
are.
like that, because they don't understand that even those that they just attacked, you and I talked a couple days ago about the attack on right, the LDS
Well,
church.
it's a
Well,
necessary
no.
thing.
You need to, I need to get you where you were when we talked about this to explain that. Now, it's totally awful. I
I know.
don't give a shit who you are, but that this is not a Christian church. And I
No.
know I really want you to walk me through what you were telling me on the phone. We can do it with any other denomination, but
I,
why is the LDS not Christian?
I got to make this point first about why there is this great divide going on now between, I'll say the Christian and non-Christian, although it's not really just that simple. But if you look at,
Like, I'm all for them. Nobody should attack them. Stop. Right?
Yeah.
No, I get it,
But you know what? These people that are against Christianity and pro-government, there's a good reason why they are, and that was because that they're against, Christianity and everything that it represents, and they're going against the grain. They're saying, well, you know what? I'm trans or I'm homosexual or whatever, and of course they don't feel comfortable in the church, because that's just not a very it's actually
I'm still
look down
gonna
on.
push. Listen, I'm still gonna push on you because there's more you can give me. Like when people look at they drive by a church building, whether it's LDS or whether it's Mormon, and I'll go deeper, whether it's Baptist or Presbyterian or Pentecostal. Why do they all assume all of those are Christian?
Why do they?
Yeah.
Because
The majority of the world.
because they put God first, not government. And it's very important that we realize.
Oh.
You're missing.
No,
No.
Can I try?
JC, can you maybe, are you catching what I'm pitching?
Oh yeah, no, I know where you're going. In the 1960s, the mainline churches bought into social justice, and in that buy-in, they began to think of themselves as the conscience replacing God, and that's the issue. That's why when you see these demonstrations where you have all these old people and they're wandering around and they're all white people. I mean, revolution's a young man's game. I don't have the heart to tell them, you guys aren't going to get anything done. But the fact is, they felt so good about themselves with King and fighting for social justice that they just can't let go of their own virtue. This makes them a good person to think these thoughts. And the hell with everything else. We're not going to look at the outcome of this because our intentions are so pure. This is the origin of political correctness that morphed into wokeness, that morphed into Obamaism, which was white people like myself giving themselves permission to support a black guy in a city because I don't want to be a racist. And the final culmination of this was George Floyd. And what I want to ask those people is, okay, there it is. Floyd is your Christ. Okay? He got sacrificed. He died, to cleanse us all, right? And he's a martyr. We had 4 funerals when no one else could have even one. And none of the COVID restrictions were enforced for him because he was just so fucking important. All right? And John Lewis, the whole gang, Maxine Waters, all of them, the virtue, just on and on and on. Just a feel-good orgy of left-wing self-righteousness because they feel like they're God. And Edward, I'm going to bring it home right here. They feel like that a doctor or whatever should be able to cut off a kid's penis because they know better than the Almighty.
No, yeah. I know, it's not ridiculous. You can't change your DNA, Mr. Doctor, but you feel you can do everything else, which is just retarded. But I want to get back to the culture.
Wait, they want to change your DNA too, but
no, they can't. They can't figure that out quite yet. But they're trying with the COVID shot. There you are.
Getting back to the call. Well, we're actually we'll talk about some of that on Thursday at a totally different show. For those of you that follow the podcast, seriously, I think I don't get why you're not smashing the like and subscribe button. But Edward, I gotta get to you, because it's your show, and I want this to be about what we talked about. Oh, we can always wander. We can wander. I've never had a problem wandering, but
I didn't want to get into the cultural differences.
I promise. Quit yelling.
You gotta so. Politics. You said this to me. Religion is politics.
Yeah, but you can't separate them. That's very true. Yeah, religion and politics are the same.
And look through history. Get 1600s, got 1300s, 1200s.
Correct. But that's
ought 200, ought 400, ought 700.
We could have a 2-hour show just going back to the history where we find ourselves today because of that, though, and the culture that followed it, and actually which is here now that everybody's fighting against because the differences that we have. The cultures say, politics and religion. We had to, and people don't understand the Presbyterian way of why we ended up in America, why we ran away from Europe because we're losing our heads.
All right. Let me ask you this: Romans, right? Like everyone thinks Catholicism is Roman, that's not true. So now you're dating what you're looking at, Romans, right? But what if I bring up Orthodox, and what if I bring up Russian Orthodox?
Yeah,
and they believe a certain way. And again, we're not going to get into the Ukraine-Russian war. We're going to talk about the religion. So the Orthodox Church in general. A lot of people attend. A lot of people are believers. Whether it's the right church or the wrong church, I can't tell you, Edward. All I'm saying is that it was a church that a lot of people loved. That got turned on overnight.
Yeah,
and found fulfillment. That's absolutely right.
Well, yeah, because it's that understanding again. That's the Greek side of the Greek Orthodox, which you were talking about just now, the eastern leg of that dynasty that Alexander the Great had formed, and the four legs that became two: the East and the West. Now, the Greek Orthodox and the Roman Catholics. So that big divide there, and the Greek Orthodox. Yeah, that was, and yeah, that's through the Ukrainian war. That's just gone wow, terrible,
If you
closing down
ever,
all that.
if you start sending me DMs in Cyrillic, I'm going to get worried about you. Okay?
But I gotta say, yeah, getting back to that, then where we find ourselves from, you know, the Catholic Church to where we are here, why we are the separatists, and we still are, whether you call us Christians or not. We are the original protesters or Protestants or protesters, just pronounced differently, because that's what a Protestant is, a protester, a Protestant. So yes, we are still the original ones of those, going against what the other side would have us believe or follow.
What were the Protestants, the Protestants,
Uh-huh.
protesting against? We gotta like no. I'm trying to dial you down, even if you won't get there. What were the original 1600 era people, so 15th century, who were fleeing England?
Yeah.
What were they protesting?
Well, it's definitely the Catholic Church, and we had to
Church of
Oh,
England.
the
Church of England.
the British takeover of the Catholic
Church
Church,
of England.
which is an act of insurmountable evil. All right.
correct. And remember, you know, the Catholic Church had a great power over the Church of England. That's how the Church of England came about to begin with.
Yeah,
It's not
I
like-
really give a crap what Spain has to say to me today.
yeah,
When I look at the New World, so obviously politics is also religious. So, and again, here's where I was going to talk about. We were fleeing Church of England. We didn't give a shit about Catholicism. We'd already moved north. And then we
Oh.
started to move so far north that we went to Russia. And Russia is where we were able, Protestants, the separatists. We've got lots of good content about the separatists that you guys should listen to, but we will do more on the separatists. Is they're like, no, screw you guys too. We're not going to be endowed to a church of state. We're going to be endowed to a church of Jesus. So
Mhm.
screw you. We're going to take 40-foot canoes and
For what?
sail
Yeah,
across the Atlantic, the North Atlantic,
the
in the
roughest.
worst
The
of times.
choppiest, coldest water in the world.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and still did it. We still did it. Made our way to America. Lots. Of course, we didn't all survive, but
A lot of you stopped up where you are. Those are the
Yeah,
those are the
I know.
those are the apostates.
but
Anyway,
still, yeah, it's still, you know, whether we were farther north of that borderline today or this south of it, we all congregated on those shorelines, correct, right there, and we made this country. But actually, it became two again because we have the great Americans and then we have the communistic people under the crown still. Because for some reason we thought that we needed the safety of the crown. I don't know why, but yeah. So
even
yeah,
after
we
they,
flipped.
even after they lost,
I know. I know.
you had a second chance in 1812, and you
I know.
still
We
didn't do it.
still did. So maybe third time's a charm.
JC, there's still Tories.
Yeah.
There is
I
still
know.
Tories alive today
I
that
know it.
wish Britain or England would have just won the war.
Yep, absolutely.
Sean, how can the Tories not puke when they hear what King Charles says?
Oh gosh.
He is. I don't even need to. That's
Even
really
takes
a tangent, but it's just useless. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I got no.
I agree with you. That's why we got to get rid of the
listen,
crown.
so we do a lot of church. We also do a lot of government. So Edward let's go ahead and turn it the last 15 minutes to Stormer. Let's turn it
Oh,
to Carney. No, hold
Christ.
on. Because
Oh.
because this was brought up is that we're just gonna go ahead and do these things. We're gonna do censorship. We're gonna stop everything. You should
Surveillance
totally
state.
tolerate. Oh, and
That's
that
right.
was the one thing, digital ID, right?
Yes.
Digital ID. Oh,
I-
like when I talk about with you guys, and we're on like our 88th episode. I talk about AI. And I talk about all the good that it's gonna do. This shit is
Mhm.
the worst thing you could possibly ever want.
And you know what?
In Iran, like I don't remember when the movie was, maybe 2003, 4. Minority Report.
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise. Yeah, no, that was chilling.
Yeah.
You remember
And here we are.
Mhm.
for real. Remember, we don't have to have digital ID. They say we must have it for all these reasons that Keir Starmer is giving. You don't need it. It's not going to make things more. It's like saying computers is going to make our lives so much easier, less paper. That didn't change. As a matter of fact, it made things even more difficult in some areas because they keep changing everything to make more money off it. So we're in this big circle again, fighting every day trying to keep up with the changes because they want more money. So no, it's not what we were taught at all. But
Yeah. Casey, take this one for me.
You're provoking me, Edward. And you're provoking me because I just think of the United States with digital ID but no voter ID. Because I mean, seriously, and even now in Britain, you see what's going on. They've got these no-go zones. They've got all these places with this Islamic immigration, which
Oh, yeah.
Starmer will do nothing about. The boats continue to unload thousands at a time. He hasn't done dick about it, and yet now he wants to clamp down on the population. And their police force is running around basically checking vaccine passports while they've got grooming gangs active in Rotherham and the rest of the place. That's why I keep sending that stuff to Her Kitty. I love Her Kitty. She's a great Twitter person. But I said the UK is done. You guys must declare independence. It's just rot.
I know.
It's horrible. I don't want to see you guys go that way.
No, and neither do the rest of us. Although the government's forcing us down that road, but Trump did and will stand if we somehow convince this government, which we're not going to, because the king, has the ultimate word and he can change things on a dime whenever he
But
wants.
that's the point.
I know, and
That's exactly so. And I'm seeing we don't have, and we will build this up. We don't have a lot of Canucks in I'm watching the numbers, right? But we want to get more Canucks in here because we want them to realize, just like you have realized, that we need to get to a point where the Canucks declare independence, and it won't be because Donald Trump declared them a state or a territory.
Correct.
We've already
Right.
talked about this. Like that's all that's nonsense. That's just people talking. But you guys need to declare independence from the crown. And when we first started talking about this, you're like, we already declared. No, you haven't as Canadians. You have
That's
not
correct.
declared independence in the same way that Australia never has. You just go walk through the lines.
Hong
New
Kong,
Zealand.
wait.
India. No,
Yeah.
none
And
of
this-
them.
Hong
and that's
Kong.
why
Hong Kong.
I'm-
Look what happened there.
Hong Kong is still a
New Zealand. Same
But that
thing. My
was 100
little
that was
hottie
100
New Zealand. You got to get her in here, Edward.
Yeah, actually, yes, because she'd actually be fun because we have the same gut law. Actually, Australia and us do, not New Zealand, although it may be very similar. It won't be exact. But what was I just thinking? I just lost my thought on that.
You're still under the crown. I know you hate to hear
You were
that.
thinking about her profile picture. I understand. It mesmerizes me also.
She's got very nice. What did my dad used to say?
Smile.
She's
Very
got
nice.
a very nice smile.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, Actually, I should have posted this in the room. I forgot. Sorry. But you know what? We're talking about our governments and whatnot and being separate and apart from the crown, which is a necessary thing we have to do. Uh, um, Canada has to fight it out like the States did, and it's going to be a hard fight. Britain's not going to let go of Canada easily, or Australia, or New Zealand, or the rest of
No,
them.
I actually
Wait,
think they would.
hold on. All right, hold on. I hate to interrupt you all, but listen, I've got Bill Maher, the super socialist, talking about free speech
Which we don't have.
in Canada.
I like
Right.
the fact that I have the music I have and they can't change it because you see they do change songs because woke Canadian assholes, for example, are the type of people who don't believe in free speech like they don't anymore in Germany or England. And so like they will change songs. I
We
saw
have freedom of speech in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We have freedom
yeah,
of speech
well,
up
but
there.
you got to fight for it.
We can say whatever we want up there.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah, we can.
Because I
I think it's a little overblown. There was a something
it's
about
not
sharing news on.
No, it's not Canada,
social
but
media.
England has arrested people for opinions on the internet,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not down with that. And so
I think
is
there's been
Germany.
some misinformation about me getting all Canadian right now, but there's been some misinformation about Canadian freedom of speech though that's been floating around out there. Like we've got freedom of speech in Canada. It's in our
Okay, well,
Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We have freedom of the press, freedom of assembly.
Yeah, well, just because something's in a charter, I mean, we have it too, and Trump is threatening that, and sometimes the
But
left is threatening that.
I've
too.
never experienced a situation where I can't say something up there. There are hate speech laws in Canada, so there are things you can't say. But you know what? Who would want to say that shit anyways, right? So
Well,
but-
that's not what free speech means.
right, it's a
That's
slight.
why-
It's a slight. But there's a
reason,
there's a clearly defined definition of what hate speech is. So it's not overreaching. It's fairly specific. It's
the
not
Supreme
really,
Court-
pretty much say anything you want except for extreme things that you would not agree with. I would think, and that nobody
What's
would really
extreme?
want to agree with.
No,
It's
that's
civilized
no.
society.
Go
You
on.
don't know what free speech is then. You don't know.
Well,
That's
it's-
not what free
No.
speech is. That's
Okay.
a definition of not free speech.
Okay.
Like what everybody thinks. Not everybody thinks the same.
Mhm.
The Supreme Court ruled in our country
Yeah.
that the Nazis could march in Skokie, Illinois,
Yeah.
which they were marching in because it is a community of a lot of Holocaust survivors, many of whom were still alive at the time.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court said, as abhorrent as that is,
Yeah.
that is what free speech is about. Anybody can defend the speech that we all like,
Uh-uh.
but sometimes it changes what people like, and you just don't want to be limited that way. Now, if you are literally inciting violence or kiddie porn or something like that, yes, there are things, and they're already illegal. But it gets very dangerous in my view.
There was a lot of talk.
So Edward, what we're going from this? Even you have of this guy, right?
Another brainwashed Canadian.
Listen,
Oh my God.
I'm going to do a whole show just on Bill Maher. That he's only one hoax away from figuring the whole thing out.
True
Well,
enough. Even the
well,
religious side of it.
That right? He says, he's like, no, screw you. Is what he's telling the guest on the show. You
is
don't
that
have
guy?
free speech, and you don't know free speech. You
But
don't
he's right.
get it.
He wasn't wrong. I've
Who is-
said this.
Who is that dumb shit?
I
I have no idea.
I'll
Just
find
some
out for you.
random Canadian, I guess. But I've said for a few years ago, somebody said Canada has all the rights and freedoms of any other country in the world. Just try using them. You can't. Yeah, we'll advertise all of them, but just try grabbing on and exercising any of those. You can't. You'll be thrown in jail right away if you try to exercise any of those rights, including that free speech. The guy says, "Oh yeah, you can." No, we don't have free speech. Everybody's all uptight and all offended. They can't disagree. Oh no, they have to get all offended, and send you to jail because they hurt your feelings or something. That's how ridiculous it's got up here. I tell you the truth. That's exactly how it is. Because the libtards, being as well, that's the only thing they got to fight with. And then after they've won, then they'll be resorting to the, name calling like they always used to do and still do today. It's just because it's them doing it and not them, then it's okay. So this is the retardedness we have going on up here. But yeah, all the rights you want. Yeah, you
Approved
bet.
speech. You heard him. You heard him defend it. Approved speech.
I know, but isn't that the same thing as the lockstep communistic, social what we have going on now in Canada? By the way, it's exactly the same. It has to be approved. It has to be. You can do whatever you want as long as
It's
this way.
it's what the left wants to enforce
There is
everywhere.
no other government that allows true free speech outside of the American Constitution, in whether it's Canada or Australia or England.
Guys, I think
We're all about to find out what happens. And then
Find out.
wait. Like, there's been conversations about the Second Amendment. All right, you gotta ban assault weapons. Well, hold on. I could look back in 1964 and look at who was using rocks to eliminate their enemy, and go, "What's an assault weapon?" So there let's get that definition straight. What's an assault weapon? But Edward, you guys, and I don't hate to, like, I actually hate to punch on you guys, but you guys, hold on, you, Australia, Hong Kong,
New
all
Zealand,
of the colonies, right?
South Africa for a while. Yeah.
And they're not even. Of course, Christian, we can totally get into how America fucks all that shit up too. But speaking about you guys, I'm trying to figure out how we can get you guys to get a resolution like our founding fathers did and said, screw you, we're going to be separatists. And I want to be very clear, the word is separatists. We're separating from all of that.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about those Bloc Quebecois girly men.
Yeah,
we're talking about real separatists.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, because they're just there for the money and just they're not going to follow
It's
through.
bullshit. I know,
I
it's
know. We
ridiculous.
all know that. That's so true, and I'm sick of that stuff too. And if they had any balls about them, they would have already done that. As soon as Alberta mentioned it, they would have said, "Yeah, well, we're going to get ours first." They're not. They're just flat. They're in there for the money.
No, wait, hold. You're the one with the balls, and that's why we have you on the show. And again, I'm not downgrading you. All your friends should come and watch at Sean Strom on Tuesdays on Rumble so that we can have this conversation. The second thing I've asked you, do any of your friends from Canada want to join us? I will give them a link through you.
Well, yes.
If you're gonna build a movement, it starts here.
Absolutely. But we have to watch the internet now because there's this new bill that they're passing that.
No, stop that.
Nope, I'm in America. I'm in America.
Yeah.
I can do.
I'm
not going to be in. Nothing will happen to me.
Right.
I'm in America. I am the host.
Yeah.
You've got a Starlink for the asking. All right. You don't have to watch anything. You don't have to worry about Nortel or any of the rest of that crap. All right.
I forgot about that. Yes, that's a great offer. And you know what? I'm about sick of Bell anyways, but I shouldn't say that. But yeah, I really am. Starlink's the way to go. And why our government
I'm still going to go back to, hey, look, I'm not beating up on you, nor is JC. As the host of the program, I know it feels like a beat up. Like, as you're trying to bring people on to watch this and learn information that they can't get in Canada, it's right here. We're just gonna do the thing. We'll specifically do it on Tuesdays, and we are not picking on. I want to be clear, Canadians. We are not picking even on Western Europeans in countries because no, hold on, Well, no, we'll make fun of everybody. What we're trying to do is get you to actually make a declaration of independence
Yeah.
because I listened to a story on the radio today, Edward, where someone said, "Well, we already declared independence," and I said, "No,
Mm.
no,
You got
no, you
Dominion
haven't."
status. You got Dominion status, which was fool's gold to send a bunch of your boys to get killed in 2 world wars. That's what happened to you. You got sucked under by the Brits. You
I
should
know
be
it.
mad as you should be mad as hell. You
I
should
know
get
it.
out of that. You should
I
get out
know.
of that.
It's a pretend this the constitutional monarchy that we have is just a bunch of garbage. We need to have a constitution, a republic like you guys have.
I
A
can send you a
constitution.
copy of it.
We should just take yours should just take over the whole
Yeah,
because
yeah, you
Stamp
just
it as
copy
approved.
paste.
yeah
Yeah, stamp it as approved. You can't do better.
no
I mean, I know. I've never
it's a
seen
state
anything better.
constitution.
Well, let me ask you this, Edward.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a Christian standpoint, is there a better constitution anywhere in the history of 5 or 6,000 of people
No.
or years?
No.
What a constitution should
Well,
be.
how can you perfect on freedom? It's giving you what our unalienable rights were, according to our Father, to be free. Like, how can you perfect on something that has been gone over so finely back in those days with the founding fathers? No, and I forget how many founding fathers there was. Even that escapes me.
About
Seems like there was like
52.
40 or something.
52.
What 52? Yeah.
Those
So,
guys,
but yeah, how do you
those,
perfect on that?
One of
those
them was
guys,
17 years old.
yeah, those guys got an up close and personal look at
Wow.
every tyrannical form of government that you could imagine. They got to look at Louis XIV. They got to look at England. They got to look at Germany. And I mean, Germany wasn't even formed yet, but it doesn't matter. They've always been the same.
Yeah.
Spain. And remember back then the Christians with Charles Martel, the Field of Tours, the Battle of Tours, the Field of the Blackbirds. I mean, the Christian West defended Europe. That's what they did from the incoming invasion. And now with Merkel and the rest of that, they just submit meekly. And Sweden is now the rape capital of the world. Are you kidding me? And we're still not going to do anything about it. We're not even going to recognize the problem. Anyway, is he gone?
No, he's totally there. Well, I don't know if he's gone, but
Nortel got him, I think.
No,
it may not even be that. All right. So my thoughts on this again are:
I'm here.
listen, the West, right? Us, all of us, wherever we live. I know you're gonna go dox us right now. I don't. Whatever, we'll deal with it.
Oh, always.
The West, right? It's a Christian West, and this is where Frozen Edward wanted to come from. Is that what's happening is it's an attack on the Christian West, right? And it was invited in. I made a comment on a post.
Bill Cummins.
It was you invited this shit in. And then we can start to look at this, and this is where Edward, I don't know if you can still hear me, I wanted to get into some more episodes of specifically how. Just like I'm going to get into more episodes with JC about specifically how on a completely different topic, right?
I'm sure I'll have a few thoughts.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Am I back? Am I back?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
In case anybody cares, my two spirit animals are St. Paul and Martin Luther. And if you want to understand the revelation of St. Paul, read Luther. Now, most Lutherans in the United States don't have a clue what Luther wrote. That's how bad off we are with organized religion. Lutherans are
Nope.
considered mainline denomination. And in fact, at the southern border, they were right there next to Catholic Charities, sex trafficking all those young girls for money. And
Yep.
I am ashamed. Absolutely horrified and ashamed. I do not.
Hold on. Where's the AME? So, African American Methodist Episcopal Church, a very big church, very big church. Where are they on any of this? You don't know because they don't talk about it. They just talk about God. Now, is it
No.
an all black church congregation? Of course. I don't give a shit about the race. They don't talk about this stuff. It's right, the Episcopals, it's the Lutherans, it's the Baptist, and yeah, I know.
Mainline.
God.
Mainline means corrupt, whether it's mainline media or mainline religion. Corrupt. Our ancestors lived through the Great Depression. We're living through the Great Corruption, and we've got to own it. And tomorrow, Edward,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
We
can
can
hear you.
hear you.
Good.
Russ Vogt is going to take a butcher knife to the administrative state, and I'm here for it. Because,
Yeah.
as Mark Mitchell has pointed out, and I know I'm doom scrolling a little bit, everyone wants it to stop. Everyone wants the bullshit to stop, but they kind of don't want Trump to do it because they think he's too harsh. They want somebody like Bush to do it because he's nice. But the point is, if you're nice, you're not gonna do it. So the point is, as I've been working Twitter today, I'm looking at the results. The deficit's been cut in half. We don't even worry about bond auctions anymore with our debt because the monthly deficit's been cut in half with the tariffs. The dude is saving the country,
Love the guy.
and yet they don't trust him.
You know what?
Hey, listen, no, tell me. We were up against the wall. We're closing this one out. Obviously, if my hosts want to talk to me in the background, we're all good, but we're up against the wall. I want to thank everybody who took a look or watched or shared the show. We really appreciate it. And again, you're going to find stuff that you maybe never had any idea about what it was, whether it comes to Christianity or Catholicism or geopolitics or anything that is maybe post 1950. We talk about a lot of that. We get to a lot of places where it's just stuff you never heard before. And I'm glad y'all joined. And I just want to say thank you for joining. We're going to close this